Hello everybody, hope you guys are all enjoying your day. Today we're going to be looking at this very cold blast of air that's going to be moving into parts of the Midwest and into the parts of the Great Lakes and Northeast with some very cold air here. And this is going to be where you're going to get into the double digit negatives in terms of actual Fahrenheit air temperatures, and it feels like temperatures could actually get closer to negative 30 degrees, negative 40 degrees potentially over some parts of Minnesota, Iowa, South Dakota, and North Dakota. So very, very cold air. We've already had temperature readings or wind chill temperature readings of about negative 55 degrees over parts of northern North Dakota, and this is only going to be moving further to the south and east and bringing all that cold air further south and also to the east, and it's really going to strengthen as it moves to the east, and then it kind of weakens past the Great Lakes. It kind of weakens, and you get a little bit warmer air, but still going to be very cold air, and then it'll finally move out as you get into your Sunday time frame. So we're going to be timing all that cold air out for you guys, so make sure you are staying tuned all the way until the end of the video, where we're going to go over all the what the European model is showing in terms of temperatures and wind chills, and we're going to be showing you them, and so you can also kind of plan out your day going from today all the way until about Saturday or Sunday. So let's start off here with the National Weather Service. We have wind chill advisories over parts of the Midwest and Great Lakes, and this has really been extended further to the south and east from yesterday. Yesterday you really only had them for around this area, but now they've been extended further to the south and east, now encompassing the entire state of Wisconsin, over northern Illinois, and into northeastern Missouri, as well as most of Iowa except for the southwest portion there, and all of Minnesota, as well as the eastern portion of the Dakotas. A little bit of winter weather advisories over parts of the Great Lakes, but really that's just from some lake effect and leftover snow showers. Winter weather advisories for the Pacific Northwest, where you do have a little bit of snow going on, but really nothing like you've been seeing the past couple of weeks with that really torrential snowfall and rainfall. We also have some wind chill advisories there for parts of northern upstate New York, and as well as parts of northernmost New England, and that's really it for the National Weather Service. Quite quiet except for parts of the Midwest and Great Lakes, where you do have those wind chill advisories. So here's what your temperatures are currently in terms of wind chill. So this is what you currently are feeling on your skin, and you see over parts of Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, and getting even into the Wisconsin there. Very, very Arctic cold air, and this is actually coming from the polar regions. So this is very cold air that's dipping further and further to the south. Of course, it's not with the same intensity that it would be with the at the polar regions, but you still do have some very, very cold air and well below average temperatures over parts of Minnesota, Iowa, South Dakota, and North Dakota, and it's going to be moving further to the east. And you see that zero line is moving all the way touching the Great Lakes already. So very cold air that's moving further and further to the east as we speak right now. So here's your 2 meter temperature anomalies, and we're going to zoom out for a little bit to go to the entire United States, and then we'll zoom in to the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast, so that you have a better view of what's going to happen for your area, and we're going to time it out for you. So here, getting into tomorrow morning, and you see those very, very below average temperatures, indicating very cold air there in that green, the blue, the purple, and those almost maroon colors, and very dark purples there, indicating almost 30 degrees below average and 35 degrees below average in some areas, and that only intensifies as you get into southern Minnesota and northern Iowa, where you're seeing those very cold temperatures, and your temperatures are pretty much at their lowest point. Actually, late January is usually the coldest time period, but you're still within that early February time frame, early to mid February, and you still have some very cold averages. So even if you're 35 degrees below average, that can mean negative 20 degrees. So very cold air, and that's really taking place here over parts of northern Iowa and southern Minnesota as you get into Friday morning, and then Friday afternoon, much of the eastern United States for a change is under that below average and well below average over much of the eastern United States with that as well. Now getting into your Saturday, well below average temperatures move into parts of the Northeast by Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon starts to depart. Warm air already on the backside. Here's your reload of some very cold air, and that's over parts of Western Canada, and that's going to be making its way further to the south and east And we also have the warm air right in front of this. So we do have some warm air on the backside of this cold front that's going to be moving through. There's a cold Arctic air mass. So that is a plus side for you who really don't like the cold air. And it's really going to be departing within another day or two. So probably by Sunday morning, you're done with all this cold air over parts of the eastern United States. And you see that warm air really overtakes everybody. And it really takes a couple days before you get another potential shot of cold air. And if that does play out, we'll definitely probably at least mention it, maybe even make a video on it, depending on how significant it is and whether we have any other weather events going on. So here's your 2 meter temperatures, your actual air temperatures over parts of the Midwest, and then we'll go over the Great Lakes and Northeast. So currently you're experiencing really the worst of it. The worst of it actually came yesterday morning for you guys. So you're really just on the tail end of this very cold air, and it's going to soon turn warmer as we get into Friday morning. But really that cold air is going to persist over Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa. For the Dakotas, Nebraska, Wyoming, Montana, really the cold air is done for you guys. But as you get into the Great Lakes, the cold air is far from done. We'll zoom in on the Great Lakes here. This will be by Friday morning, and you're starting to see that cold air starting to move further to the east. Now, something I do want to mention, let's go to the heart of this cold air. So this would probably be the coldest time frame here. Now, this is what the current model run is showing, and I'll pull up here. This is what the model run was actually showing yesterday for the same time period, and you see it's much colder actually over these areas. So something I did want to show you, it is quite a bit colder by 5 degrees or so. So that is something I want to mention, and that's something I noticed because I was looking at the models today before I did make this video, and I was kind of looking at them, kind of breaking them down, and I did notice, I was just thinking in my head, this seems a little bit colder than what we saw yesterday. So I looked back at the model run I showed in yesterday's video, yesterday's model run, yesterday's afternoon run, and we actually did have 5 degrees below average or colder than what is actually being shown on yesterday's model run. So it is even colder than what we were thinking yesterday. So that is only something that you should prepare for even more. You should prepare for actually a couple degrees colder than what you are actually forecasted, because even if you do get a couple degrees colder, you still need to bundle up a lot. You need a lot of layers. You need probably 2 or 3 layers, a hat, gloves. Don't leave too much exposed skin. Leave as little exposed skin as you can. Really, you need to bundle up out there, because you could get frostbite within the matter of 20 minutes or less in many of these areas. So let's go back to today's run and let's continue through it. You see, the cold air really recedes after you get past Saturday morning, and then it's mainly in the northeast. So here's the northeast view of what's going to happen. And this is your temperatures, still your air temperatures. And you see, your cold air starts to shoot in by tonight, and then or tomorrow night, and then getting into Saturday morning, you're starting to see the heart of this cold air. So really, Saturday morning for the northeast is going to be the coldest time period, and you're seeing many locations sub-zero, negative 20 degrees. Definitely not something that's uncommon over the interior northeast. As you get into Saturday morning, definitely a lot of areas getting double digit below zero over parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and maybe even creeping there into upstate New York. And then as we continue this, really Sunday morning, it's all said and done, and you're back to right around average there, and even a little bit above average potentially. So here's your actual wind chill temperatures. So this is what it's gonna feel like on your skin. So those were your air temperatures, what your actual temperatures are, but this is how it's gonna feel on your skin when you do step out the door. And you see, we already have this very cold air, which was backed up by your observations. These are your latest observations here, taking just 15 minutes ago from when I'm recording this, and you see, we do still have that kind of matching up, and even a little bit colder on the model. So it is going to turn sharply cold overnight, and then it's going to really weaken with that cold air as you get further back into the Dakotas, but it's definitely going to strengthen into parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin. But you see, it's already retreating as you get into Friday afternoon, and you're back in the teens and 20s as you get into Saturday morning. So back to right around normal, maybe even a little bit above average after this event. So Thursday, Friday morning for parts of the Great Lakes, you're starting to see those wind chills very cold starting to creep in by Friday morning. So your Friday morning commute, definitely probably gonna have to scrape off some ice, especially because you did have a winter storm You had that recent winter storm over these areas, so definitely you are probably gonna have a little bit of precipitation still on there. So you could probably want to de-ice your car tomorrow morning. It's really gonna be a pretty rough commute because you are gonna have some icy roads as well with all that melted snow and all that. So really, it's gonna be a tough commute if you do live in parts of the Midwest and Great Lakes. And then as you get into your Saturday morning, it's all the way out into the Northeast. So let's move into the Northeast view now with your wind chill temperatures. Now we do have this cold air start to move in by Friday morning where you have those -20 wind chills already setting itself into parts of the interior Northeast by Friday morning. And now getting into Saturday morning, you're starting to see those colder wind chills start to move into parts of the Northeast. Now this is also something that's changed. The Northeast has also gotten a bit colder, which I did notice on this run. Now yesterday the sub-zero line was hovering somewhere, I believe somewhere right around here, but now you see it's tipping further and further to the south. So if we continue, areas closer and farther to the south could potentially reach sub-zero wind chills. We'll definitely have to see. It's definitely looking like the models want to bring this a little bit colder, and we have a little bit of time for the models to kind of move around with this cold air. So it's a possibility that even some of these areas do get a little bit colder. So we'll definitely have to see, and even into parts of the interior Northeast, it get a lot colder. You're seeing double-digit negatives, closer to -25. So definitely might even get some wind chill warnings out into the interior Northeast because it is going to be very cold. Now, you see, it retreats by Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning. It's pretty much all out of here except for into parts of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont. Still a little bit on the chilly side, and then really retreats as you get into Sunday afternoon, where it's pretty much all said and done, and you really don't have to worry about any frigid temperatures for the foreseeable future. Anyways, guys, that is going to wrap the video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video when I do upload. Anyways, guys, that was Eli with Grind. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.